right, welcome, revelers. This is Off the Rails, Right versus Left, the podcast that we do because we think the left is evil. I'm Rob B.
And I'm Brad Lee.
And I'm Brian G.
And we are Off the Rails, Right versus Left. Again, we're doing this show because we think everybody needs to know that the left is evil.
Classic.
Welcome, revelers. It's Off the Rails, Right versus Left. We're going to talk about both sides, the right and the left, and we're generally going to go off the rails. That's the name of the show. I'm Rob B. And along with me,
Brian G.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about two different court decisions that are fairly consequential. And we're also going to talk about kind of something going on with black people and Democrats. And there's kind of an interesting question behind it. And that's the migration that kind of on the surface looks like black people running away from Democrats. Maybe they got it. Maybe LBJ was wrong. He said he was going to have black people voting Democrat for 200 years. Maybe it's falling apart after 50. I don't know. So anyway, before we dig into it, make sure that you click the like, click the share, and make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified when we're online. It's the best way for us or best way for you to make sure that you know whether we're here, because I'm under attack by a civil here, as you can see, they're vicious. So anyway, so forgive me if I get doggy interrupted. But okay, Tia, get out. Sorry about that. What was I saying? The dog completely distracted me. Anyway, oh yeah, so like, are they learning the lesson, or is it purely they're running towards the fruits of conservative ways without like really paying attention to the damage that liberal ways cause? If you follow me on that. Yeah. So, and then of course, if Brian's got anything that he wants to squawk about, he can. You know. That's kind of how we roll here. So, anyway, so Brian, been like a week since you've been on. How you been doing? Good,
tired, busy.
Yeah, well, I feel that. That's why half the time I'm still working, even when I'm doing the show. So I get it completely. So hopefully got the new headset though. So hopefully the sound's better.
Yeah, it's about the same.
Oh, that's not good. I actually got a headset that's got a boom on it, so I was hoping that the sound would be better. So anyway, okay, so the court decisions. Have you followed what's going on with the court decisions?
Let's see, which...
Not really? So the first one is the court case regarding transgender protections and sexual orientation protections under the Civil Rights Act. So the inclusion under the Civil Rights Act of sex was supposed to mean women.
Yeah.
Right? So in the decision that they made here, again, like looking at law as living documents that change with the times when they don't. Laws mean what they are written to mean. And we got, again, what we have is the problem is, you know, the legislators tend to like writing laws in such a general way that you can't really, it leaves it open to interpretation because they're not specific enough in their language. And yeah, I mean, that's just, it's completely a horrible idea. So in this case, women can be discriminated against now if the man happens to wear a dress. the protections for domestic violence disappear if the man's in a dress. You follow me? So like,
because I identify as a woman, then you're forced.
Or it, right. So much like eroding the woman's competitive advantage if she works hard in the pool or on the field using transgender athletes to cross lines, they're now taking away any gender-based protections. And the way the ruling came down, I think it's going to be used to attack sexually segregated bathrooms, locker rooms, stuff like that. And of course, we've already seen that perverts can abuse that. Now, the reality is, like, in a lot of countries,
Oh, can't hear you.
yeah, in a lot
Can't hear you.
of countries, the
You're cutting
Hello?
out, brother.
Can you hear me now?
I get a couple of words.
Christ.
Well, oh, that's the problem with moving around and walking. His signal goes in and out, so we end up losing him. He should be back on in a sec. But I mean, like you were saying, it goes back to the YMC case with the one, what was she, 16-year-old girl, 17-year-old girl, the one teenager who walked in, who stepped out of the shower in the women's locker room, and there was, oh, are you back?
Oh, I think so.
Okay. Well, I was just talking about the YMC case where the girl stepped out of the locker, the teenager stepped out of the shower, and there was the case of the guy, well, identified as a woman, walking around butt naked, his dick's in there swinging between his legs as he walked around the locker room, and she was so shocked she stepped back into the shower until this person left the locker room, and then she goes out and complains to the YMCA staff, and they basically shrug their shoulders and said there's nothing we can do. Yeah,
and that's and now and
well,
see.
It's like all the professionals say, though, too, in the case is if you truly identify as transsexual, you're hiding the fact that you're a man. Nobody who identifies as a woman, who's a guy, is going to be sitting there walking around in a public locker room naked with his penis and they're swinging around. It's just, that's not something somebody who identifies as a transsexual would be doing.
Right. And so were you able to get into at all what he's been charged with? Because it turns out before the guy got caught up in the YMCA case, before he was pretending to be a girl, he was doing it anyways, exposing himself to women.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. It's
so, and here's the thing, okay? To me, I get there may be some guys out there that genuinely think they're women or intersex people that have the mismatched chromosomes,
yeah,
or they have XXY chromosomes, and so they have an actual challenge about all of this, okay? But here's the thing. If one, and this is like as a human being, like a dude or ma'am or whatever the hell you want to be called, if one woman is harmed to protect your feelings, you're okay with that?
Yeah.
If one child is harmed to protect your feelings, you're okay with that? And it's like the jump for them to like call anybody who says anything about the whole trans movement is a transphobe. No, there's a potential for even one child to be harmed, so people can feel better about themselves. Okay, but you're talking about doing physical harm versus hurt feelings. I'm sorry, physical harm is more important.
Yeah.
Especially since we're talking about physically harming women and physically harming children, which in this society, in Western culture, we're supposed to protect them. Like, I mean, there's certain cultures in the East where women don't have rights, women don't have any protections. And, if that's the kind of culture you want, there are places that have that. Good luck telling them you're gay.
here's what I don't quite get. If you're so worried about protecting people and protecting their feelings and their emotions and whatever, then why wouldn't you just require that they make a third bathroom or a third locker room?
Or do European style bathrooms where, like, well, I mean, I don't know about all places in Europe, but I went to several places in Europe where there weren't men's and women's restrooms.
Yeah.
There was one common lavatory where you washed your hands, and then there were individually floor to ceiling concealed stalls for people to go into.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, yeah.
So, like,
where you would get naked and change and shower, you have your own, basically your own little room.
yeah, and I mean, locker rooms can be done like truck stop showers. Like, if you really want to be all inclusive, then let's do it like that.
Yeah.
But it's, dude, okay, so you know what? Like, for these fucking transgender men, okay? Or these transgender women, sorry, okay? If you're a real human being, then tell me that you want any man who wants to be able to go in the locker room with your mother, your sister, to be able to, whether he's really trans or not. If you're okay with that, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, and I've said for years, I mean, for years and years, that if my daughter went into a restroom or a locker room and I saw some guy dressed up as a girl trying to walk in behind her, no, I'm stopping that. He's going to have to wait till she gets out of there, because I will not let some dude who wants to pretend to be a girl to walk in.
Right. So the reality is on this, what we ended up with is we now have any guys that want to pretend to be girls are like free as they wish to go and do this stuff. And the dilution of the Civil Rights Act like bothers me. It had a very specific purpose.
Yeah.
Okay? Thanks to the Democrats, we had Jim Crow. Thanks to the Democrats, black people were being deprived of their rights, and women were being deprived of their rights. Thanks to the Democrats. Nobody forget, this was the Democrats doing it. It was the Republicans that passed the Civil Rights Act, and they did not pass it to protect perverts and weirdos. They passed it to protect all black people, and to give special protections. Well, they passed it to protect all minorities, and then they passed it to protect half of the population known as women. They did not pass it for sexual fetishists, for people that have body dysmorphia, or any of this bullshit. That's not what it was for.
Well, and then you can even go into sports too with that. There's a reason that there was girl sports and boy sports. It's because they're different. And when you start getting boys involved in girl sports, girls start to get hurt. Just look at
not only that,
look at the one.
Why would you ever compete in a one-on-one or in a head-to-head competitive sport if you know there's absolutely no way you're ever going to win, because there's going to be some guy who pretends to be a girl and they're going to win? Why would you bother?
Well, I mean, look, there's so many cases that you could point out, like the one volleyball case where the guy was playing in the girls' volleyball. He spiked the ball into the girl's face, and she suffered neck injuries. She was knocked unconscious. It was just insane, because the guy has a lot more power behind his swing. Also, there was a case that I was listening to on a podcast where the one girl was heavily into soccer, and they were playing with the girls' team was playing against a boys' team that was a couple of years younger, and some of them thought, well, that's okay, they're a little younger, so it would even out. Well, these guys, she ended up never be able to play soccer again because she took a hit from a kick and was injured.
Yeah.
I mean,
so by the way, shoot a message to Brett telling him to get his ass on.
Yeah, case after case after case where it's men and women are different. I don't care if you identify as a girl and you're taking hormones or whatever. You're still biologically different. You build a little more muscle mass. You're a little bigger, a little stronger physically. Women have their advantages. I mean, there are things that women are better than men.
So here's another thing that I kind of would like an explanation for. Why is it if somebody's fat, we're supposed to tell them to have body positivity and it's okay to be fat, but if they've got body dysmorphia, we encourage them to change their body. So why aren't we encouraging them to be happy with their body the way it is and tell them that they're okay the way their body is?
Why are you bringing me into this, brother? You're trying to say that I'm okay even though I'm, 400 pounds?
No, I'm saying society is what?
I just
No, that wasn't even my thought on it. Well, because you and and I didn't even think about it. We've never had this conversation in front of the audience before, but we can go ahead and have it. And like it's the same thing between you and me. Okay, we're both relatively healthy. I smoke. I'd like to quit smoking because it's not healthy, and I would like to be healthier.
Yeah.
Just like you are heavier, and even though right now you go to the doctor and you get tested, I mean you're walking around carrying the burden of two people, and over time that's going to have consequences for your knees, for your cardiovascular system, and that's just fact.
I've been incredibly lucky so far that I haven't had any health problems. I mean, I should have knee problems, back problems. I should be diabetic. I should have heart issues, and I haven't yet. And if I don't get the weight off soon, I will.
Yeah, I tried to ask my brother to join, but he's with his kid this weekend, so he wasn't able to. Oh my God! Oh, I forgot to add it. Okay.
What?
Brian, pull up Darwin Awards, Portland arsonist, and see what it pulls up. God, I had the screenshots down here. I don't think I'm going to be able to upload them now. Let me see if I can get them to upload.
Awards, Portland arsonist?
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can add them to the overlays. I don't think I'm going to be able to because we're already going, but this was like just brilliant.
I don't know. I see a 2006 Darwin Award.
Nah, I got it. Well, let me see if I can get it. I'm hoping these will upload even though we're streaming. There we go. It worked. Okay. So here we go. Can you read it? I can't tell if I got the beginning of the article or not.
Thomas. Whoa.
Is that the beginning of the article?
No, I think you were at the beginning. Edward Thomas 32 is a little bit of a trouble. Is in a little bit of trouble according to the Department of Justice. He's been charged with using fire to maliciously destroy the Justice Center on May 29th. The Justice Center holds the Multnomah County Detention Center jail and the Portland Police Bureau headquarters, and it's near the federal courthouse. Boy, that really sounds confusing. According to the statement released by the Department of Justice on Tuesday, they allege that Shinzing was with protesters marching on May 29th when they reaching the Justice Center. When they reached the Justice Center. Some broke windows and broke into the building. Three civilian Midland County employees were working inside the corrections records office at the time of the safety of the windows were broken. Based on the preliminary review of publicity available videos from YouTube, should be publicly available videos from YouTube, Twitter, surveillance cameras, and still photos posted online. About 30 individuals entered the Justice Center through the broken windows. The individuals spray painted portions of the office, damaged computer and office equipment. Oh, and then the buttons are blocking the rest.
All right, so, well, here's the thing. So this guy was walking around on the videos, like shouting out people, all this, and he had one little problem going against him. That tattoo was apparent in the videos that he was caught in
Okay.
when he set the courthouse on fire. You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a tattoo on his name, and he was arrested by the cops, and they took note of his tattoo like 3 weeks before. So they had a record of this.
Yeah.
Okay? Now here's why I'm talking about this idiot. That's my nephew.
Is he?
Yep. That's my sister Tina's kid.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, family. What are you going to do?
That's someone to be proud of, though.
I'm not proud of it. He's going to jail where he belongs.
Oh, I'm not.
Just like anybody who was on the Capitol on January 6th that did damage should go to jail. People that were ushered in by police officers and undercover FBI earpieces that you could see on the video as it's being released, now that we're actually getting all the video, those people should not be in jail for anything because they were told they could come in by the police.
Yeah.
They also need to look at like trespassing statutes, because generally speaking, you're not trespassing unless you're told you're not allowed to be there.
Yeah.
So, like, if I go to your house and set up camp on your yard, I'm not trespassing until you tell me in front of a law enforcement officer that you want me to leave. At that point, if I don't leave, they can arrest me for trespassing.
Yeah.
So if somebody like went on a property and then left without doing any damage, they didn't commit any crimes, they shouldn't actually be arrested for trespassing. Because whoever is in charge of the property did not person, they need to exit the premises or they are trespassing. And that is the people's court. It is the property of every United States citizen.
True that.
Personal opinion. However, on a federal courthouse, which is where they broke in, it's very clearly put that you're not allowed to enter the building without going through proper security measures. None of those people did. They broke into the building and gained access on their own. Nobody let them in.
Yeah.
So that's minimum breaking and entering and trespassing.
Did they
So,
set the place on fire? Is that what they did?
Yeah, he's looking at arson, and he's a domestic terrorist.
It's crazy stuff.
So, and it's funny, they were going after federal buildings when all of these shootings that they're supposedly so upset about have nothing to do with authorities. They have to do with local police.
Yeah.
And most of the time when they're upset about this shit, it's with a false narrative or an incomplete narrative.
Yeah.
So anyway, that got off the rails, of course. But I mentioned that. I forgot I was going to include that. Yeah, that's my family right there. Now you understand why I don't talk to most of my family. They're that off in the leftist hemisphere that I just cannot do it anymore. Like, just cannot. I can't stomach it. I can't tolerate it. I can't do it anymore. So anyway, by the way, whoever our viewer is, feel free to say hi. If you're not watching right now live. Hopefully someday we get bigger amounts of people watching us while we're broadcasting. Okay, so anyway, so that court decision, basically to me, it erodes the protections for black people and women, because it now creates another class that's basically got superior protections. Because, well, I mean, intersectionality. Like, there's always somebody who's more aggrieved, and the Democrats who love taking rights and protections away from people are going to use that to erode the protections for the women that they're supposedly fighting for, and for blacks that they're supposedly fighting for, which, of course, we know they never will. That's why every Democrat area, so we'll tie that in later. So that actually directly comments on the third segment. So, anyway. The other court case, Carrie Lake's court case in Arizona, the Supreme Court there said that they are going forward, and they are actually going to expedite the trial on it. Now, I don't know I think it's too late about the actual election, but I would think that if they find that, what's her name, the usurper over there, if she was found to have actually done something, or there was a conspiracy, or even just negligence intentionally, seeing problems that Carrie Lake brought up before the election. And that's the big thing. She brought up problems before the election, and they weren't addressed.
From what I was reading, the Arizona Supreme Court turned it, basically shot it down, and now she's going to the Supreme Court.
No. So the Arizona Appellate Court shot it down, and now it's in front of the Arizona Supreme Court, and they're like expediting. That was what I read in the article like earlier today. So I just find it interesting. Like, I didn't even know the case was still going on. So maybe it was Yahoo recycling articles, but I can't imagine them.
I'm looking at Arizona Mirror, which is a website that Carrie Lake asked Supreme Court to take up her case to overturn the 2022 election, which was 3 days ago.
So now she's pushing it to the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court to review the decision of her election contest case after the case was shot down by both the Maricopa County Superior Court and the Arizona Court of Appeals. It's confusing because there's some other ones that say that from February 19th that say the Supreme Court shot it down, and then you have this one that
yeah. So there were different suits before the election. She had a suit, and the Supreme Court of Texas, or the Supreme Court of Arizona, shot it down. But that was before the election. So this one is her case that she filed after the election, and like she lost her appeal, and she's now taking it up with the Supreme Court, and they've agreed to expedite it. Was the most recent decision that I saw that came across on it. So it'll be interesting to see, and I believe that she'll try and take it all the way to the Supreme Court, but I think that's going to be a moot point because they're going to rule that they have no jurisdiction to rule over state laws as long as they don't violate the federal laws, and then that gets into a gray area. I would like to see the Supreme Court on it, but after this other case, do we really want the Supreme Court seeing it? Because, I'm sorry, who you fuck in your bedroom is not a special class. Everybody fucks somebody, and it does not give you a protected class because you're a weirdo about it.
Well, I'll tell you the biggest issue I have with what happened with Arizona. The fact that Hobbs, who she was running against, ran the damn election.
Yeah.
With the election that she was running in. How can you have that? How can you have the person that's one of the two people running in charge of the election? They need to redo the laws so that can never happen again.
Okay, but then they also have to do that in Arizona or in Georgia because Kemp, who is actually the governor, was overseeing the elections in Georgia when he got elected.
No, I won't disagree with you. Anywhere that happens, they need to change the laws. So whoever's involved in the election not run the election.
So, but by that point, it would still be too late because everybody that's in place, she's appointed.
Well, I know. I'm not saying that that's going to overturn what already happened. I'm just saying so it can't happen in the future when these questions don't pop up. Because I do think that she was pretty crooked on this election. It could have been pretty disgusting stuff. I
don't think the person who oversees the election should be appointing the board of electors.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying there?
Oh yeah, and the fact that they got the wrong ink cartridges for the printer in Republican areas. It didn't happen in any highly liberal areas, Democrat areas. It only happened in conservative.
Wrong ink in some of them, intentionally putting in the wrong size of paper in others. Yeah, I mean there's all kinds of shenanigery.
Yeah, where they ended up stopping the voting for 3, 4, 5 hours. And then they wouldn't let it go on longer to get these people that weren't able to vote yet because of the delay a chance to vote.
Yeah, and then they mixed up the votes that were supposed to be separated out so they could be manually tabulated later, and yet there's no record of what happened to the votes. There's no record of where a bunch of those votes came from that came in and were dumped into the system. They were all for Democrats. And votes that had been counted got mixed in with votes that hadn't been counted. And how do we know they didn't get counted again? And how do we know that some operative working for the DNC didn't dump a bunch more Democrat vote in there. I'm not saying that's what happened, but when you get rid of the transparency and you have a person with a personal interest in the election, overseeing the election, and magically the cameras watching the area go down, and they're like, oh, well, nobody came or left from the building. Okay, so somebody stayed in the building and the cameras went down and then they came out and did their shenanigans? Did that happen? I don't know. But that's kind of the point of transparency. And it's kind of funny that they put those CCTV cameras on a system that they said that they knew for weeks that it didn't work, that it would go down almost every night.
Yeah.
So why didn't they put it on a more dedicated server? Oh, I don't know, like the one that the rest of the security cameras were on, that they're using as proof that nobody could have tampered with it. No, that's not proof, because somebody could have been hidden out in a storage room, in a basement, and something else. If the interior CCTV cameras were off, anybody could have done anything inside that building, and we don't know that every person left in it that ever entered that building.
Yeah.
And we don't know that there isn't like a sewer access to the building or something else like that. Utility tunnels, emergency evacuation tunnels, any of that. We don't know. So, and then the other thing that they did is all the votes were supposed to, all across the country, votes are counted in the precincts where they're at. And Arizona changed the law, so all of the votes for all of Maricopa County get brought to one place to count without any chain of custody vouchers. And then magically, now that we have all the votes in one place, they can figure out exactly how many votes they need to count or not count to make sure that they win. Funny how, like, in the places where they really need to win, the voting keeps going until the Democrat wins, no matter how long it takes.
Yeah. No, I
So,
I agree. You know, to be honest, if it was me, anybody, you know, you have all these states that had major issues that took weeks and weeks and weeks to get all the counting done. You know, even the ones that just took a few days to get the counting done. If they had any integrity, they'd be going, gee, what states did this really well? Which states have this really down packed and have no issue? And then they would be sending people to those states to go, okay, what are you guys doing that is working so well? Like Florida, who had their own county in a matter of hours. And they have a huge population.
yeah, and like, oh, so on the comment on our other video, like, all I commented on, and I get what the guy was trying to do, is he was trying to goad me into saying something that would get us kicked off YouTube. Like, I get what he was doing, but he said that, like, we said bumbling Biden. He was like, oh, bumbling Biden, that's the best you got? What about, you know, Laura Ingraham, Tucker, blah, 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 listed all these media personalities testifying that they knew that it was a lie, blah, blah, blah. None of those people ever said it is a lie. They have said that they do not have full evidence that this occurred. They ask plausible questions, things that we're not allowed to ask, and why aren't we allowed to ask it? Why is it that if we have any questions about it, we're not allowed to ask questions, yet Stacey Abrams can get on there and say that her elections were stolen twice, and she's given a platform, but anybody conservative that questions anything is deformed.
No, I didn't listen to the last show yet. Are you talking about the Fox News case that's up right now, where they were saying that Dominion was flipping votes or whatever? Or?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like he kind of like extrapolated their testimony into a statement they didn't make.
Well, and I'll say this about Tucker, whether you like Tucker or not, he actually, the woman who was making the accusations, there was actually a recording of Tucker coming on saying we were going to have her on, but she didn't send any evidence that could actually be corroborated, or everything looked crooked. So there was too many questions out there to really believe what she was saying. Right.
And, you know, Fox News did raise a lot of questions that were valid.
No, I'll say
the far better, like, but don't forget, Fox News was one of the first places to call that election for the other side.
Arizona?
It was the same. Yeah, it was the same thing in 2020. Fox News was one of the first ones to call the election for the Democrats.
Well, I think the problem Fox News had is they called the election so early in Arizona, whether it was right or wrong, and it was right, that a lot of people turned away from Fox News because they were upset the fact Fox. So they screwed up and ran with this case with the woman, Maria Bartiromo. Isn't that who was the first one to run with it? Even though
I don't know.
From what I've heard, she had too many questions and she ran with it anyways because Fox News was more interested in bringing people back to the show, and they screwed up and they're going to pay the price for it. But my thing is CBS, ABC, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, all these, they do it all the time. They do crap like that all the time, and they barely get touched with it. It's just like, oh
yeah, like the smoking gun that's about to take down Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's just it's to me it's so one.
We absolutely positively know that the Biden laptop is Russian disinformation. We absolutely know that there's proof that there is Russian collusion. We absolutely positively know that Hillary Clinton did not delete her servers. Like, yeah, they say a lot of shit that they absolutely know that's false.
I can't read.
And then they also, like, I'm sorry, I remember every single mainstream media saying that the lab leak theory was thoroughly debunked, even though they wouldn't say what the source was on the debunking. And what did the FBI come up? What conclusion did the FBI come up with? What conclusion did the Energy Department come up with? And that one's a weird one. Like, people like wonder, why did the Energy Department have anything to do with COVID? Because they're the ones that oversee biological laboratories.
Now, I'll say I'm very disappointed in Fox because this is not something Fox usually does. I'm extremely disappointed that they ran with it. But I'm not gonna. But the other ones do it all the time, and I can't read that comment over there. The off the rails white one is covering most of it.
Oh, it says, "Why does your setup look so awful?" I don't know what you mean by my setup. It says, "Tell the blue dork turn his volume down." Okay. There's my volume better.
Quickstick thinks you're a dork.
I'm okay with that. So anyway, is the volume better, Brian? I can't hear how loud I am because my headphones are just hung up or set up to give me your sound, and that's it.
That seems fine to me.
So, okay. Is it better? Okay, perfect. Thank you. So anyways, to answer your question, yeah, we don't get paid for doing this. We're just doing our bullshitting and letting people listen to our bullshitting, and I'm working in the meantime, so it makes it a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, I mean, anyway. Rob and I both work anywhere from 12 to 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. So this is just jump on, do this because it's fun, and then move on. I mean, if we could get to where we're making money doing it, then we'll have a lot more time and we can be a lot more focused and everything on it. That'd be great. But right now,
yeah,
two, three guys BSing and having fun.
Yeah. So anyway, okay. So back to now. I actually like Tim Pool had a really good breakdown on the whole elections thing, and like what they were using to say stuff was debunked. They kept citing like I'm not reading. I'm actually typing it, and my other speaker is telling me what you said.
You shouldn't be reading.
Yeah, shouldn't be reading while you're driving. Anyway.
No, you're just talking and looking where you're driving.
Well, yeah, and then the point of this is I can use the the access controls.
Yeah.
And have it read it to me through the other speaker. So.
Yeah. No, I got you. You're saying you shouldn't be reading his comments while you're driving.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got exactly what he was saying, but I'm not actually reading them. I'm listening to what my speaker's saying, telling me using the accessibility controls that were actually meant for blind people. I'm not blind. I just can't look at the screen close enough to read what he's saying.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that white off the rails just blocks too much of it. I can't until he drops down 2 spots. I can't read it.
Yeah, well, we can fix that by making sure that we like put in welcome comments at the beginning so it goes down past. Or actually, I can just do this. Where is... Ta-da!
There you go.
All right, so fixed it. Anyway, so Tim Pool broke it down pretty good. So all of the cases that were dismissed in court were... I actually think Trump's a pig. I was surprised that after he got elected, his policies were actually good. If it hadn't been for the coronavirus, there's absolutely no way Trump would have left office. I do wish somebody would have broken his thumbs, so he would have stayed off Twitter. But the thing that was actually I don't know if it's intentional or not, but people were so busy getting really pissed off about what he was saying and doing on Twitter, they didn't pay attention to the really effective governing policies that he had. Now, I don't know if you know this, but like literally federal regulations, if you were to print them all up, would take up more paper than the entire Library of Congress.
Yeah.
So people say that, oh, Trump removed regulations. That's not what he did. He said if you want a new regulation, you have to get rid of 2. But that new regulation they put, if the previous regulations were invalid, they could actually... He didn't try and overthrow democracy. That's absolutely stupid. That is a stupid assertion. Okay? If you say he tried to overthrow democracy, then you also have to say Hillary Clinton tried to overthrow democracy, Stacey Abrams tried to overthrow democracy. You have to say that Gore tried to overthrow democracy. No, he did not. Please explain to me how he tried to overthrow democracy.
He did not.
So what okay, so you're by the way, send us your contact information at otrrvl. We would love to have you come on the show and actually have a discussion. Okay? So what the media likes to do is frame what Trump says as something other than what he says, because they like to say he said this but he meant that. And I'm sorry, you can't hold people accountable for that. Okay, just like when that dude went and like shot up a bunch of conservatives at the baseball game, a bunch of Bernie Sanders supporter did that. He was the one saying the shit that inspired the person to go shoot people, but he did not say, "Hey, go shoot people." Trump did not say, "Go break into the Capitol." He said, "Go peacefully. Let them know." Okay.
Well,
okay, so, no. Actually, let's respond to that. There were actually Antifa and leftist demonstrators at the White House on the day of Trump's inauguration. There were a bunch of them that were arrested. There was violent protest outside of Congress on the day that his election was certified. It happened. Okay, so pretending that it didn't happen doesn't change the fact that it happened. Okay, we just don't cover it because the news doesn't cover anything that the left does. Okay, and now here we aren't saying that anything that the January 6th protesters did, damaging things, attacking anybody, all those people should go to jail. They broke the law. Donald Trump did not go tell them to go and assault anybody. He did not go and tell them to overthrow an election. He told them to go and peacefully protest and let them know your opinion, which he has every right to do. He did not call for anybody to be harmed. He actually said the exact opposite. And this is the bullshit that you fucking leftists do. You sit there and say, this person said this, but he meant the opposite. Fuck you. He did not.
No, he never told people to storm the Congress. And
you know what? And
were open to let them in. They didn't stop them. There was the only major violence where somebody was killed was an officer that shot somebody who was not doing anything violent, the one female who was just in the crowd. He shot her. Oh, bullshit.
No, actually, that is not what he said to do. There is actually a constitutional... Hold on. There is a constitutional process for the Senate to reject electoral votes, and he was asking for that to happen. He did not say suspend the Constitution. So again, you probably listened to some leftist retard that said that he claimed that he was going to do this, and that they have no proof of it. I will tell you, however, fucking Mark Milley fucking was illegally and is an act of treason going and talking to the leader of the House, who should have reported him for treason immediately to the acting president of the United States and did not. Therefore, she committed treason in conspiring with him. He also conspired with the leader of the Chinese Communist Party. General Milley should be in prison for treason. Even if what he was saying was a lie, he did actually contact those people. So even if he didn't do what he claimed he did, his conspiring with them, that was actually a conspiracy to overthrow the government by somebody in the military. But y'all leftists pretend it's okay because he's on the left. Okay, well, I'll tell you who else was on the left. Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini, those were all far left people. Far right people want the government as small as possible. They don't want the government to control shit. Only leftists want that.
Well, that always annoys me when people call conservatives.
Oh, yeah, and for the record, Trump ran for president twice. I didn't vote for him either time. So before you say I love Trump, I was pleasantly surprised by his conservative governance. I think he fucked up everything from COVID on. Says who what? Please be a little more specific. You're not a 2-year-old. Complete your sentence.
Are not huge Trump supporters. I liked a lot of the policies he actually did.
Brad was on here. Oh my God.
I like the fact that he did what he said he was going to do, and that he either got it in or he was working on trying to get it in. I like that. I thought he was a complete ass. I didn't vote for him in the primaries. I actually voted for Ben Carson. I wanted to see Ben Carson get in 2016.
I actually voted for oh shit, I forget who it was that year.
Yeah, I'm not a big Trump supporter.
Last time I voted for Jorgensen, I think it was Johnson in 2016 that I voted for.
I think he was 1,000 times better than the idiot Biden who's losing his mind.
Well, this okay. We can already tell this person's IQ level unless you're willing to get on. If you're willing to get on, say yes, and send us an email on the email. I will send you a link right now to get on.
Libertarians.
Okay, this person's a complete retard.
Well, I'm sorry, but
no, the left-right dichotomy is a real thing.
What pisses me off is how the left organization can go burn down cities, literally kill people, hundreds of people get killed, and it's okay. But as soon as a few people, and I think it was wrong, I think it was disgusting, they shouldn't have done it, go in to Congress and protest, and yes, they get in, they're let in, they get in, they do some stupid things, and yes, they should be sent to jail or fined for what they did. But that's the worst thing that ever happened in U.S. history. But yet,
I do have a question for Quick Sticks. Okay, we are now over 2 years. Yes, Antifa killed. Well, I don't know about hundreds, but they killed a lot of people. Like, did you forget the Antifa guy walking up? Well, all the deaths and like all the chops, those were all Antifa people. And there were a lot of them. The news just didn't report it because your side hides anything that the left does bad and promotes anything that the right does bad and fake stuff for the right doing it. Don't forget the fake Nazis that were all actually leftists dressed up as Nazis to greet Trump, pretending that the Nazis were getting Trump, but it was actually the leftists doing it as a false flag. Don't forget that.
What's so annoying?
So anyways, okay. Brian, you're on a computer. Can you pull up leftists pretend to be Nazis to greet Trump? So anyways, so here's a question that I have for you. Okay? You believe in this country? Do you think it's right that there are people that are still sitting in jail from January 6th for no reason other than the fact that their phones were in the area of the Capitol that day that have not even been charged with a crime and have not been given a day in court? Do you think that's okay? They have not been convicted of a crime. They haven't even been charged with crimes, but they're still being held in jail. Is that okay with you? Oh, where are you from? Okay, then fuck off. You don't have anything to say about American politics anyways.
Oh, Rob, he can still say stuff if he wants.
No, bullshit. Because I guarantee you, whatever fucking country they're from is a complete shit show. What country are you from?
Well, but one thing that gets me is
I'm really curious here. Because I've lived in a couple different countries, so I'm dying to know now.
And I spend months and months in China. I know.
I mean, I can't see the profile picture real well,
UK.
but
Britain, UK.
UK?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, your fucking country's a shit show, so forget that.
Well, I love UK. I wouldn't want to live there because it's not the type.
Bro, they have death penalties there. They have death penalties there. Who you know determines whether or not you get medical treatment. Yeah, it's a joke. Guess what? I live here in Houston, Texas, where we have the largest medical center in the world, and we see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people coming to Britain to our medical center to get treatment because your country's such a shit show they can't see a doctor. So, but hey, it's okay. Now, here's my thing, okay? I would actually be okay with socialized medicine. Bullshit. Conservatives didn't ruin anything. Liberals need to get off their ass and take care of them fucking selves. If you don't take good care of yourself and your health deteriorates, that's your own fucking problem. If you eat sweets and your teeth fall out, that's your own fucking problem. Like, it's nobody else's problem. You do not get a right to steal from other people to pay for your shit because you can't take care of yourself. And that's the whole point. You're all a bunch of fucking socialist retards in the entirety of the European continent. Like, thank God fucking conservatives finally got control. And the problem over there in England is that the fucking so-called conservatives that were in charge of your country weren't fucking conservatives. No, they're the same fucking, just like the fucking rhinos here that are Republicans in name only, they're not fucking conservatives. There's a huge fucking difference between a conservative and whatever your fucking party's all over there. I don't care because your country's shit. You wouldn't exist if it wasn't from the U.S. We kicked your ass and then we came and saved you like 4 times. We should have let Germany take you. You know what? Here's the thing. If we went, no, they're not conservatives because all conservatives want is limitations on control of government. Okay, that's what a conservative believes. A conservative believes that the people give up a little bit of their rights, little bit, to have a government that protects them from other people, whether it be individuals or other nations, and that's it. Okay, both the conservatives and the liberals in your country have done everything they can do to ramp up the controls over the people. You guys do not have free speech there. You guys do not have a right to carry arms. You guys have you guys aren't a free country. They can come after you for anything they want there, and nobody's going to stop them. You don't have conservatives in your country. All you have is people that want more power. Hey, it's your fucking country, man. Like, I've been there. I ain't impressed.
Everybody I've ever seen in England who's been in power that's been called a conservative would be considered a pretty far left liberal here.
Yeah, exactly.
I always go, how is this guy a conservative? I look at what he's trying to push and the things he's trying to do. I'm like, how is that a conservative? How? it's
I don't, dude. You know what? This fucking ass clown probably fucking lives in London where they elected an Islamist for mayor. So fuck him.
Person, I don't know, but I disagree with a lot of stuff he's saying.
No, he's not an intelligent person. He's a leftist. That proves that he has no brain. Period. Sorry, Quick Sticks Productions, but until you can give me some argument that actually shows anything. No, we're not fascists. You don't understand what a fucking fascist is. A fascist. Okay. No. Okay, so a socialist believes that the government controls all the means of production. A fascist believes that private industry controls government, or private industry exists, but it's controlled by the government. Your country is closer to fascist than my country. My country, the conservatives are trying to keep the government out of people's lives and trying to keep the people out of the fucking control of the companies. In other words, keep the government out of private industry. That is fascism. Fascism is the government controls everything. That's the opposite of conservatism. You know what it is? It is fucking liberalism, where they tell you have to drive this car, you can't have this stove, you have to wear this mask, you have to take this shot. That's fucking fascism. Your country's fascist. Our fucking leaders are fascist. And Donald Trump was a piece of shit for allowing the fucking fascists in this country, known as fucking Democrats, to put out all these edicts on the fucking people without any facts. His cautious approach at the beginning was right. The chances are, if we had fucking taken the approach that Sweden left, we probably would have had exactly the same number of deaths. Why do I say that? Because Texas and fucking Florida got rid of all the fucking limitations for COVID as soon as they kicked them in March, and by May we were already back in business. And guess what? We had some of the lowest numbers in our country, even though we have some of the most densely populated cities.
like taking away women's bodily autonomy away from.
Nope, they didn't take away a woman's bodily autonomy. They gave the baby that's being murdered their autonomy back. The woman had her bodily autonomy when she decided whether or not to open her fucking legs and let some loser nut inside her. Like every fucking woman knows how babies are made. So if you don't want to get pregnant, don't fuck.
And I've said that for years. Yeah, shit, things happen, but that's a tiny percent, tiny percent of what abortion is. From
yeah, and for the record, in this country, abortion's not illegal.
Moron.
It's about it's
freaking moron. What
every biologist in the world says
taking the life of a person. A baby is a person. If you're killing that baby, it's murder, you idiot. I'm sorry, you take the life of a living being, it's called murder.
So we can definitely point out here that this is exactly why I said that they're fascists. Everybody over there, everybody on the left is fascist. Because what fascists have always done is take up certain categories of people.
You're an idiot. It is a person. It's a living being. You have sex, which is totally 100% to create a life. You have sex. You might have been doing it just to have fun, but biologically, sex is to create a life. If you have sex, you're trying to create a life. If you have sex, you create a life, and then you decide you don't want it, so you have it killed. That is murder, you idiot.
Hold on. I want to respond to this one. So is eating meat murder? Only if you're eating people, because murder is killing another person of your own species. So what eating meat is actually eating the most densely nutrient source of protein and other nutrients that there is available on this planet. But I will say, I don't eat veal. I don't eat balut. I think everything has a right to grow up.
And I don't believe in.
So I also don't eat lamb because most of it is not full-grown sheep. Most of the lamb is actually from yearlings, and I don't think that that's right.
I don't believe in wasting. Like these people that kill something and then take a small part of it and junk the rest. That's disgusting and wrong. I think.
So, but any actual biologist.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Any actual biologist will say that when an embryo is fertilized, that's life. When a seed is germinated, that's life. Okay? Then if you don't interfere with the natural process, it becomes a human being. And what you're talking about is interfering with the natural process. Okay? I would actually make the argument, okay, being fertilized doesn't mean it's life, because something like 30% of fertilized embryos.
Oh, dear.
Okay, well, if everybody stopped eating veal, they wouldn't. So, because they wouldn't be raised that way anymore, they'd be allowed to go and be big cows and grow into either a dairy cow or a full-size meat cow. Like, I get it, and especially in this country, we throw away more food than the rest of the world eats combined. So, yeah, like our country is completely wasteful. I have a problem with the waste in this country. I don't have a problem with eating meat. If you're all about the animals, you should stop being a vegetarian. You're stealing their food. I'm not. Just saying. So anyways, so from a biological standpoint, as soon as the embryo implants, if there is no interference with the process, it becomes a life. Even if you take the most ridiculous point, okay? So here's what you don't understand living in the UK. In this country, they are literally aborting babies as they are born. That's not abortion, that's murder. Okay? And the restrictions on abortion, these abortion bans that they have here, they're actually no different than the abortion restrictions. Most of our states that allow abortion, there's only like 8 that don't allow abortion at all, except for in cases where it's to save the mother's life, or in the cases of rape and incest, there are exceptions. That's actually not true. I'm sorry. I grew up on a farm. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Anyway, Yeah, no, a male cow would be allowed to grow up because male cows is where all the meat comes from. The female cows produce milk, and then at the end, they get turned into burgers.
Damn, I love burgers.
So anyway, yeah, they don't kill male cows at birth. That's absolutely erroneous.
Yeah.
So
I've never even heard of that.
there's actually, that's no, it's more leftist propaganda. It's like stupid bullshit that they say because they don't actually know how anything works. They don't know where anything that they get works. Oh, by the way, all your vegetables that you eat are fucking fed by fertilizer made from the shit from the cows that are fed to us meat eaters. Just saying.
Why would you kill a male cow?
And without those fucking cows, they don't have enough fertilizer. Especially, and it's also with chemical fertilizers made from the petrochemicals that you're trying to get rid of. So guess what? If they get rid of all the fucking cows and they get rid of all the fucking petroleum, you're gonna starve to death anyways because they won't be able to produce food. That's how fucking ignorant you are. So even if you want to be a vegetarian, you need the whole rest of the food supply chain and the oil supply chain to keep going, or you'll starve to death. Okay, well then why would you make that argument? So anyway, so good. I'm glad you're not a vegetarian because vegetarians aren't healthy. Like I watched my daughter go through a vegetarian phase and then a pescatarian phase, and then she realized that she just felt sick all the time, so she finally started eating meat again. Why? Because yes, there are proteins, but you can't get the quantity or the quality of proteins that you need to build muscle mass, especially as a young person eating a vegetarian diet. It's just dietary fact.
Are on a lot of supplements because they need to get the vitamins that they don't get from.
Yeah, but you don't process supplements at the same rate you do for things from natural food sources because your body can't like process chemically generated shit. That's why like all the people that are like on a diet, but then they drink all these sweeteners. Well, the problem is your body can't process any of those sweeteners, so you still end up in a really bad situation. So any other messages that you post, you're going to have to read, right? I'm going to be moving again.
Vegan bodybuilders that can split you in half, Rob. Which aren't a ton of
I highly doubt that.
Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, if they're using steroids, then maybe.
Yeah.
But I still that they would be able to build a mass to split me in half. Yeah. I'm not a small dude, anyways. I'm like 225, so like to say that they could split me in half is kind of erroneous. I don't really care. I think vegans are stupid. So the fact that they want to live that way, that's more power to them. They're still stupid. Like we were made, our bodies were designed to process. Well, we weren't designed to process fresh meat. We were designed to process like partially rotten meat. That's why like all the indigenous tribes, when they cure meat, they would leave it out in the sun and basically let it rot and dry out, and then they'd eat it later. A lot of the native tribes may mix it with like cornmeal and stuff like that to make a pemmican. I'm not as familiar with the indigenous foods from other continents, but that I know that's what they did on this continent because yes, I got some of that too. So, hey, part Native American, part black. So before you call me a white supremacist because I think liberals are idiots, I'm not. You're just idiots.
I have no problem with a vegan or vegetarian or whatever else as long as you're not trying to force me to do it.
Right. What was the third topic that I wanted to talk about? I forget now.
I don't remember. We've been going at it for just over an hour.
Can you see the rest of the title? I can't. Oh yeah, so blacks fleeing the Democrats. Okay, so now you actually have like Democratic study groups like starting to research why black people are fleeing from Democratic controlled areas. Well, duh, because liberal policies don't work. They don't like crime. They don't like not having jobs. They don't like having unsafe cities and horrible schools. Because it turns out that when you just throw money at problems, it doesn't fix the problems. When you take money from people to throw money at other things, it actually just takes more money away from them when they already don't have enough money. So the whole thing is like ridiculous. So what they're mentioning now, Democrats are hopeful that they'll move to these areas and turn them purple. Particularly in the South, they're hoping that they'll be able to turn the South purple with all this mass migration. And I think there's actually some legitimate concern to that. But that's the reason why conservatives need to get better about getting the message out, particularly to people moving here. Like, Everybody, if you know somebody that's conservative and they come and they move to your area in Texas or Florida or Wyoming or Idaho or Montana or Alaska, make sure you sit down and have a conversation with them and say, hey, look, buddy, the reason you left that shithole that you came from is because your policies ruined it. So don't come here, bring your politics and ruin our city too. Like, you're welcome here as long as you leave your bullshit politics where you left them. Oh, what do they say?
I get my sources from all over. I get it from some English news agencies from England.
Okay, so I'll give you a great example. When the news reports Donald Trump said this racist thing, I go and watch the whole speech, so I see the entirety of the speech, yep. And sit there and watch him condemn racism and condemn bigotry and condemn the KKK, and say like. The first one, they said that he was racist against Mexicans. But you go and watch his full speech, and he was talking about the specific gang, MS-13, which is a Salvadorian gang to begin with. So apparently the media thinks people from El Salvador, are Mexican. So they're so racist, they think all Latins are the same. Yeah, but you guys don't want a free society. That's the point. Liberals don't want anybody except for you guys. And anytime that somebody brings up like some actual science, like, hey, the more you tax businesses, the less people they employ, you guys won't listen to that. They're like, whoa, blah, blah, blah. Rich people need to pay their fair share. Rich people are paying 50% of their income in taxes, and poor people are getting money back as welfare and not paying any taxes. So I would say the poor people need to pay their fair share because they're the ones not paying anything. And guess what? I never tried to get extra tax breaks or anything like that. My fucking tax bills are ridiculous every year because I work for myself and I just pay my taxes. There are a lot of tax loopholes written in there. I could probably write off a lot more stuff than I do, but I don't bother because I don't mind paying my share. But Trump made a point that if the tax rules are there, the tax rules are right. Oh, I like the tax policy thing. So Trump, somebody said something about him not paying taxes for 4 years or 5 years or something like that. The reason he didn't lose that is if you go out and you start a business, right, or you buy a business, and you lose $2 million running that business to employ a bunch of people, you get to write off all those losses, but you're limited how much you can write off. So you can't write off the whole $4 million in 1 year, but you can write off $500,000 a year for however many years it takes. In this case, in this example, 8 years. And to say that that person didn't pay any taxes, that's stupid. Because the 10,000 people that worked for the companies that he bought and was losing money from, there was payroll tax paid on behalf of those employees. The employees paid taxes and Social Security, and the company paid Social Security taxes. And they had to pay all the fees to operate, all the licensing, which are all actually taxes, all the permitting. So, yeah, the companies that are supposedly not paying any taxes, they actually pay a ton of taxes. Yeah. And you're talking about federal income tax. If a company doesn't have any income, they don't have any taxes. That's it. And the reality is most billionaires, they have billions of dollars in assets, but they don't actually have any income. Their net worth keeps growing in the value of their assets, but they're not actually drawing in income because they long since had enough money to live on. So they're not actually taking in income. They're growing their net worth. Now, if they go and sell those assets, then they're going to have income. Then they're going to get taxed to shit. Just like Jeff Bezos sold $250 billion or $150 billion worth of stock, and ended up paying $70 million or $70 billion on it. Once you have the capital, the actual gains, you pay the taxes on it. That's just how it works. Now, if he had $150 billion worth of losses, he could have written off 500,000 of it that year, and he could have kept writing it off every year. But that year, he still would have had 100-something or $70-some billion in tax bill. So I don't know enough specifically about the Norwegian tax code, but they put an actual awful heavy burden on the individual citizen to pay for social programs, which is taking from people that earn for themselves to pay for people that do not. And all of Scandinavia is now starting to be burdened by immigrants that came there and are not contributing to the system. And that's just a mathematical fact of what's going on there. And like, I'm not anti-immigration, but you have to have controls. You can only absorb so many people at one time. If you think I'm wrong, add 10 people to your household today and see how you're doing tomorrow. I guarantee it, you're going to be struggling.
Well, you need to have it under control, so you're adding in what you can build for.
Right. They have to integrate into the system. They have to integrate into the culture. They have to integrate into the economy.
Rob, you know nothing about Norway.
I very clearly said that I know very little about it, but I know every Scandinavian country, like the lowest Scandinavian country, I think is Norway, and they still have a median tax rate over 50%. And then they also have luxury taxes on stuff like cars. And you can't say they don't. I know it's a fact. Every single Scandinavian country has it.
No, I have a lot of family that live in Norway, that's from Norway.
But I've been to Oslo, I've been to Copenhagen, I've been to Helsinki, I've been all over the place up there. So, like, I actually lived in Moscow too. So, like, my perspective is a little bit different than the average American. So, like, to imply that I don't know anything about anything is actually, like, kind of erroneous to begin with.
Well, you lived in Moscow for a couple of years.
Yeah, I lived there for a couple of years. I also had a place in Kiev. That's why that whole fucking Ukrainian war thing is fucking crazy to me. Yeah. And of course, I was talking a little bit on the last show about the origins of the actual conflict there, including and not limited to the West's contributions to that, and the fact that it doesn't change that Putin's completely a lunatic. But yeah, so anyway, but I don't know anything about Norway. I'm not that versed on Norway. No, I'm not. I do know enough about it that the UK didn't want to be connected to them anymore. I'm pretty sure that you guys voted Brexit your asses out of there. Oh, yeah. They do have some of the highest wages. They also have some of the highest levels of people on antidepressants. They have the actual, some of the lowest rates of personal wealth. The wages are before taxes. The actual real income is actually much lower because such a high percentage is taken in taxes, and the costs are like triple what they are in some of the neighboring countries that don't have the ridiculously progressive tax rates. So what you need to do is put a flat tax on everybody. Everybody pays the same percentage of income, period. That's it. I do know that Norway does have success in the world. I do know that much. But then after all that's said and done, the government has to live on its budget and stop borrowing fucking money. No matter what country it is, stop borrowing money, spend your budget. If I have a budget to maintain, I have to maintain it. Nobody's going to give me more money. I can't just go steal more money if I want to increase my budget. I mean, it'd be great to be able to be like, well, I want to spend more money, so give me more money, somebody. That would be awesome. But turns out the real world doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I don't live in
And actually, Norway has some of the slowest corporate growth in the world, too, because of the trade unions driving up wages ridiculously. And you guys have some of the lowest exports for the level of technology that you have. Well, not that you have, but that Norway has. They have some of the lowest export rates because their labor rates are so high, their products are so high, and they can really only export to first world countries, which we kind of have the same thing here. We have massive trade imbalances because of the fact that production of anything here is way too high. Yeah, they only have like really high or really good like buses and stuff because they make sure the people stay too poor they can't buy anything for themselves. I'm sorry, if I do the work, I want to keep the rewards.
No, I agree.
I don't think it does. I don't think the government giving away freebies negates me being able to have what I earn for myself. When my kids go out and bust their ass, I want them to keep the benefits of their labor. I don't want it to be given to somebody that's too fucking lazy to actually go out and work.
I think it's good for Norway. I don't want to live in Norway. I don't want to live under that type of system, so I don't. You want to live under Norway?
Yeah, by the way, living in the UK, I guarantee you live in an apartment or a house that's smaller than any American would ever be.
Well, Whoa, Rob. Where'd you go, Rob? In the middle of saying that, and you phased out, brother. You back? I can hear you. Hey, Rob. There you go. You back? Oh, well, we lost him. No, I don't live in Norway. I don't want to live in Norway. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful country. I'm from Alaska. That's where I'm from. I'm actually living in Washington right now. But no, I mean, I love Norway. I love a lot of the people there. But I have no interest in living there myself, and that's why I don't. And that's why I have a lot of family who left Norway because they didn't want to live in Norway. They wanted to live in America, where they get to keep more of their income and actually get to decide more on how they want to live their lives rather than having someone control their lives. You're back, Rob. Well, we should look at wrapping it up here pretty quick, Rob.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry. My girl tried to call.
We live in a small, populated country. We don't have the luxury of being the size of a half of a continent.
Oh, yeah. By the way, you also have a homogenous country with pretty much one climate. Pretty much everybody eats the same kind of food. Pretty much everybody has the same genetic pool. Not all, but pretty much. And you guys all have very similar health issues. You guys have very similar cultural issues. You guys really can't compare to a country that is the third largest country in the world and has the most diverse population in the world. And something like, I think actually... Hey, you know what? I'll throw it down to the UK. Thanks to the UK, the US isn't the fattest country in the world. You guys are way fatter than we are. So, anyway.
No, I'll say I mean, I don't have a problem with the UK. I think UK, great, beautiful country. It's not somewhere I want to live. That's why I don't live there. You want to live there? You want to live under that system? Good for you. I'm happy for you. But it's not somewhere I want to live. That's why I don't live there. But I have no problems with UK. If that's how you want to live, great. Good for you. Rob, you're frozen up again, brother. Rob, you're frozen up. But hey, I won't disagree with you on that. UK is horrible right now. I won't disagree with you. But I'm not there. I don't live there. All right. Well, I mean, I hope you the best of luck, whatever you want to do, whether you want to move out of UK and move somewhere else. I hope you can. That'd be great. Move somewhere where you agree with the system and you agree with the people and you want to live there. I would have voted for Brexit, even knowing what I know now personally, just because I think the European Union isn't something for me. But I don't live in England, so that's not up to me. But like I said, I was from Alaska. I live in Washington now. I want to get out of Washington because they are way too liberal for me. They take too much of my income. I don't like the systems. They're getting dirty and crime ridden with the leftist policies. Crime is running rampant. So yeah, I'm ready to get out of here. I would love to move down somewhere like Texas or Florida is too expensive. Everybody's moved to Florida. Their prices have gone way up. Trust me, I've dreamt about living in the bush. I have a cabin up in Alaska that's 3 miles off the main road. You have to drive off several miles and then you have to hike in 3 miles to a lake called Red Shirt Lake. I've dreamt growing up of actually living there. Hey, I love society. I love the people I live with. I just don't like the leftist policies here. And I believe in freedoms and having the choice to live the life as you want. He said, if you don't like society, go live on the ANCAP commune. Okay. And go live in the woods.
No, it's okay. I bought land in the middle of the woods and built a little tiny house, and I stay away from people in this country because they're just as retarded as they are in England. and the rest of my time I spend with my girl over in the Philippines. I pretty much spend my time with her and fucking avoid the losers there too, because most of modern society is made up with a bunch of fucking losers that think that the hardworking people should provide for them because they're too lazy or too stupid to provide for themselves. I'm sorry, we need to get back to Darwin. If you can't feed yourself, fucking die and starve. People like you are weakening the human race.
Rob might hate a lot of society. I love society in a lot of ways. I just don't like leftist society, conservative society, where they let you live your life, where they let you keep what you earn and do what you want with it.
Okay, well, hey, me and Brian here, there's two of us, one of you. We're going to take a democratic vote that we should get to take all of your money. So, Brian, you want all that money? All right, cool. We voted 2-1 that we should get all your money. So make sure you wire all that money to the show so we can help finance taking actual sit-down time to do the show. You can't really say that it's not fair because, we voted and, the popular vote says that you need to give us your money. And, by the way, if you don't give it to us, well, then we should be able to send the government to come and get you with guns and take your stuff by force, because that's what taxes are, to give money to people that won't get off their asses. Now, if everybody was working equally hard, I wouldn't have any problem with social programs. Actually, I was at my dad's bedside while he was dying the entire time. So, yeah, absolutely.
Mother and cousin.
So you're a fucking idiot, and that's all you are. Like, you're a leftist that makes nonsense, like passion-based, not fact-based arguments. So you are the weakest link. Anyway, what was the last topic we were supposed to be doing? Oh yeah. We'll talk about it more the next time. We've already been on here for like an hour and 20 minutes, and we're trying to keep it down to an hour each day. So anyway, thanks for joining. Quick sticks, I do hope that you eventually join along, because as much shit as I give No, actually, my father was an idiot who drank himself to death, and he died because of it. I was still at his bedside. I was still holding his hand until the last breath that he took.
Also, and he died. One of the strongest people I've ever known. My mom died from cancer. Both my mothers. Esther, who is my second mother, she died from cancer. My mother died from cancer. She fought for 30 years. And my dad died from pneumonia. And his was a lot of stupidity because he drank and hurt his kidneys so much that the sickness finally took him when he did get sick.
So, quick sticks, I will just point out, this is going to be the last thing that I'm going to say, and then we're going to sign off. But I will point out that on a 200-year timeline, the survival rate for everybody drops down to 0. So the idea that you can keep everybody alive is bullshit. No, I'm not a hypocrite. My dad worked his own life, and he paid for himself, and he went and fought for his country. So no, I'm not a hypocrite. And guess what? He didn't get the benefits he even earned that the system promised him, because what the government does is they take something, they tell you're going to get it, you're not going to get it, and they're going to steal it and pocket it themselves through their own fucking bullshit. Okay? You know what fucking works? Taking care of yourself. And guess what? We're the only species on the planet that the weak don't die. Okay? So you know what? If you're alive, stop fucking complaining. If you want more than just surviving, then get off your ass and go get it, or you don't deserve more. Okay? I am not obligated to pay for you to have more. You have a right to feed yourself. Every Western country has a welfare program that will make sure that you are at least able to eat. And that's all you're entitled to, because that's all the basic right that anybody has. Now, we do have governments that are supposed to make sure that you are safe. We do have a government that are supposed to make sure that you're not going to be oppressed by other people or other governments. And that's it. That's it. That's all the government's supposed to do. Everything else is up to you. You are free to seek out anything you want in life, to work for anything in your life, but you're not entitled to fucking anything. Yeah, and I hope you join the show next time. Really, send us an email, otrrvl at gmail. I will send you the link on the next show. We do shows off and on, but we always do Wednesday and Saturday. So make sure, well, I guess it would be Thursday and Sunday for you there. And we'd be happy to have you on. You can tell us all about you. I'm just saying, people should be able to eat, and survive. Everything else, you're responsible for your own mistakes. Oh my God, we're all love here, dude. Me and Brian have gotten into it. Brad's not here today, but he and I really get into it because I'm a libertarian and he's a hardcore Trumpy conservative. If you can't handle a heated conversation, go back to your safe space, build a bomb shelter, and get out. Guess what? Not every conversation is going to be easy, Buttercup, and if you can't handle it, then stay out of the kitchen. I hope that you'll grow thick enough skin to come on. I'm not going to be gentle with you if I think that what you're saying is evil, and I think taking from people to give to other people is evil, no matter what your reasoning for it. Anyway, thank you, revelers, for joining us. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I really hope that Quick Sticks will come on next time, but as for most of the leftists that say they got something to say, willing to bet they don't show up on the show, but I really hope they do. You have a great night. Brian, thanks for joining us. Quick Sticks, thanks for pitching in on the debate. I do actually respect you. I actually love London. I love the UK. I love my time there. I give a little shit, but I don't like liberal policies no matter where they are. I absolutely love my favorite country in the world is actually Russia. I just hate the politics there, but I hate the politics just about everywhere because I'm a libertarian. I hate the government being involved in anything. Brian, you got anything to say before we sign off?
No, just the conservative idea is take care of yourself so you can take care of your family, so you can take care of your community, and move out from there.
And take care of God, and God will take care of you.
The whole ideals of conservatism is taking care of yourself so you can move out and take care of others from there.
Exactly. Well, you guys have a great night. Thank you, revelers. We're glad that we were able to get some viewers on. Thank you so much. I know that I get hot and I get a little engaged, but I absolutely... No, I don't believe in pseudo-economics. I actually believe in the capitalist economic model that has lifted billions out of poverty in the history of the world, whereas every attempt at social liberal economics has actually made more people poor and made everybody dependent on the government. Anyways, you guys have a great night. Thank you so much. We're going to hit that outro. You guys have a great night.